What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Wingin podcast. Sandstorm, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. On a beautiful rainy day. It is a good time to be here.
Yeah, it's thunderstorming here too, man.
Oh
Jack,
dang, I forgot my prop.
Jack, how you doing, man?
That I'm on the same page as y'all. The difference with me though is I'm afraid of the rain now because every time it rains, my internet gets knocked out. So it's happened every day this week. So I'm
Oh,
holding
snap.
on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. What is up to everybody in the chat? Thank you guys for joining. So we're doing another genre love episode. I think the last time we did was like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah, that's some time.
Yeah, it's been a while since we did a little genre love episode. So we're talking action titles because Bayonetta 3 got a release date this week.
Yay.
Thankfully, I'm not picking anything up in October,
Right.
so I don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
But we did get a release date. It's October 28th of this year. The trailer I enjoyed. I know some people had some very interesting thoughts about that trailer. I thought it was hilarious. But I want to get you guys' take on it. So, Jack, what about you? What do you think about the Bayonetta 3 trailer?
First of all, I was glad to see the game, first and foremost.
Right.
On the show at the time where we got the actual announcement date, or not even the announcement date, but when we went through like the little Nintendo Direct and really saw how many games were falling into October. So much like Andre, I was thinking, yeah, Bayonetta's gone. Like there's no way it's falling into the same realm of all these games in October. But nonetheless, should have stayed firm because I felt like it was going to be one of those Halloween releases or close to. But looking at the trailer, like the trailer looks amazing. Seeing all these different characters, it looks like you could use different characters for sure this time around again. I'm just curious about the story and all the different move sets that she has. What else am I looking forward to? Just kind of like seeing if it's just like Bayonetta 1 and 2, or if they really found some way to really incorporate what they learned from Astral Chain. Which I mean, I can see it happening, but they didn't show it in the trailer for sure. But definitely trying to figure out all the characters that's in it, seeing the gameplay running smooth, because I did see a lot of people that were a little iffy about the last time we saw it in regards to how it ran and what it looked like. But this looks done. This looks like it's finished and it's ready to come out, and they're just kind of at this point possibly polishing, if not waiting till October where it's the proper time for it to release. But I enjoyed the trailer for sure.
All right, Sandstorm.
First and foremost, shout out to the team for really paying attention to Splatoon and having the enemies come out like squidling or like squidlings, just kind of just coming out the water. I think that was kind of dope. I love the color. I love the fact that they've moved away from the dark palette and moved to this light palette, a whole bunch of colors and stuff like that. Like Jack said, it's awesome just to see the game. Period. The moves are dope. Yo. She has a Bankai, and I like that. I think that's so dope. I think that is the dopest thing that I've seen. Just the slight with the not even the whole hollow mask. She just got the whole hollow mask. I think that was amazing just to see that. I told Jay on kind of behind the scenes that it's really reminiscent of Devil May Cry 4 because they added, I can't remember what her name is in the thing. Viola, thank you. Which is kind of like the equivalent of Nero being in there, but I have a feeling that we aren't going to start off with Viola, where you kind of start off with Nero and Devil May Cry. So, I mean, either way, it's very interesting how they're kind of playing on that. Love the new enemies, love the new moves and stuff like that. Gameplay looks fire. Kind of wondering if there's going to be multiplayer like it was with 2, but we didn't really see John like that. So I don't know if that's going to be something that they tackle on or if that's even going to be a thing. But I'm just glad to see it there. I called it October. That's just the perfect time. Like, Halloween, Bayonetta, witches, that kind of just went hand in hand to me. So it's good to see that it's as close as it possibly can be without actually being on Halloween. So
Right.
I'm happy with it.
Well, I will say this. I think one of the main reasons why they pushed it to Halloween to give the cosplayers enough time to make their acting.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. But no, I enjoyed the trailer a lot. I did not think about the whole Hollow thing, but now that you think, not to say, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then at the end, when she has the heart in her hand and that whatever that thing was, I'm like, is she biting Byakuya? But I was actually hyped for it. The reason why I said like some people had a problem with it, people actually having a problem with Viola, and I'm like, why? Some people don't like the character design. I don't see the problem with
What's
the
wrong with it?
I mean, she's a goth punk witch. I'm like,
With a big sword.
With a big sword and a big cat.
Yeah.
I don't know what the problem exactly is, but whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Looks like everybody's back. My favorite Joe Pesci impersonator is back.
Oh
Right.
man.
Rodon is back.
Yeah.
He's back. So I'm like, look, this looks like it's gonna be fun. Even the professor guy, oddly, strangely looks like Tilda Swinton. I thought I'm like, okay, I'm interested in seeing where they go with this because it looks like until we went to the past, and this one looks like we're going to have at least a chapter in the future,
right?
At least. So this is going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Like you, Jack, I'm pretty sure they took something from Astral Chain and put it in there. I don't know what because Astral Chain was clearly a test run for something.
Right.
We're going to find out what that is. That's going to be interesting to me.
Yeah.
Wilson, I did see this. I did see people saying this, but I posited the question. But wasn't that Project Eve game that everybody was talking about back from that PlayStation, that State of Play? Wasn't that supposed to be better than Bayonetta anyway? So why do
it was? It was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm like, why do those people care? I laughed when I saw that on Twitter. I'm like, okay. I'm like, how's it being held back when it's made for it?
I'm not even understanding. Is that like a real thing to complain about? Because you really didn't. If you are one of those people who are complaining about it being on a Switch, 2 is not even on anything else other than the Wii U
and the
Switch. You know what I mean? So like, where is the complaint? I mean, yeah, you can get the original Bayonetta on the PS4.
But that came with Vanquish though.
That's all you getting though. That's all you're getting. You're not getting anything else. So I don't understand where the
buy a Switch, man. It's that easy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I wouldn't even say that. Like Gwen said, like Hideki Kami put it plainly.
Buy a Switch.
Yeah, just buy a Switch.
I mean,
I get it. I mean, for those that did like it and support the first one, I get it completely. And if that's your preferred platform for whatever reason, then I can understand like, dang, I really want to continue playing the series, but that means I got to get another console. I get it, because this stuff is expensive. I understand. But at the end of the day, if you really cared about this game enough for you to be doing all this complaining, then unfortunately, that's just how you go about playing it.
Yeah.
Jack, I get it, but I don't get it because the original was like, what, 2009? So you had 10 years to try and focus on trying to get that game. You got 10 years. You got 10 years. $5 a month. You would have had the system by now.
Looking at it from like Kamiya's perspective, he told people when they did it on the Wii U, and people were complaining, talking about it's on the Wii U. I'm like, well, you wouldn't even have it because we tried to shop it, Sony and Microsoft, and they didn't know because enough people didn't support it the first time around.
Yep, blame your owner.
Yep, blame them.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, the series was gonna be gone if Nintendo didn't pick it up. So Nintendo picked it up, and people on the Wii U bought it because it sold well on the Wii U.
Sure did, and then turn around and rebought it on the Switch.
Yeah, turn around and rebought on the Switch.
Right.
So, yeah, they're probably gonna buy this physical one once the physical one drops.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not gonna do it because I already got one because I did the double pack when Bayonetta 2 came out. Because I was going through my games today and I was like, oh shoot, I do have Bayonetta 1. Like I totally forgot I had it. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the Switch, even if you don't want to pay the full 300, it'll get you a light.
Right.
It's that serious.
It's not.
I don't think it's serious. I don't do port begging. I just don't get it.
I don't understand it either.
Y'all missed out on your chance. Now that we know in 2022, you can just send porn pics, and your dedicated maker will go ahead and do anything for you.
Yeah, unfortunately, but
should have did that back in the day.
And Dark Void has a point. That's what's coming up next. When in reality, majority of us don't have a Steam Deck. So no matter how many times you see it on YouTube, most of us don't have a Steam Deck. No. And even if you do have it, you're still playing the waiting game for somebody to fix it where it works that way.
I was just gonna say it ain't gonna run right.
No, it's not.
It's not. And the sad thing about it is, and I don't understand why people keep acting like. If you enjoy this, like I said last week, if you enjoy the Steam Deck, that's awesome. I'm happy for you. But let's stop the whole comparison thing and trying to make it seem like, oh, this is so much better. Like, dude, half of y'all have come out and complained talking about you can't play a game that's not 60 frames a second and you're doing it. So stop. Just stop the cap.
Right.
Just stop the cap. And if you're going to emulate it, and if you're going to pirate and emulate it, you're not a fan of the series anyway. You probably want to
exactly
why Bayonetta ain't on Sony and Microsoft because you probably did that on the original PS3 and 360, and now you're complaining.
Wasn't Bayonetta a 60 frames per second game anyway?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah, it was.
So, what advantages are you really getting by playing it on the Steam Deck?
Graphics.
Actually, you're not because they're probably going to lock it at 900.
More than likely.
Yeah, so it's not going to be graphics. So, and if people are saying, "Oh, we would be held back because we won't be able to get the graphical fidelity," if Platinum don't want to put it like that, you're probably not going to get it anyway because once again, if you have a PS5, if you have a Series S or X, it's locked at 30 frames a second if you go into 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I don't know what else to tell you. Like that's a lot of the games are not 4K. It's locked at 30.
Yeah.
Talk about the emails I got about from Square Enix and from Ubisoft about Assassin's Creed and Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can put it at 4K, but it's gonna be locked at 30.
But I think that's the misconception that if we have more power, then all this stuff just works.
Yeah,
that's not how that works. It has to be optimized. Like you can't just throw more power at stuff. That's not how this works. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to whether you want Bayonetta or not, in reality, we know what this is. Hey, let's find another reason to shit on Nintendo. Hey, look, Nintendo, we can run your own game better than you. Okay, congratulations. They're making money off of it. You're not.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the day, you saying this to them means absolutely nothing because they're going to get their sales regardless.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
What is up, Andre?
Well, he might be there. He's there, but he's not there.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh,
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, my headset is not playing the sound through my headset. It's coming out my phone because my computer decided that it wanted to be a pain in the butt.
Well, we haven't gotten into the meat of the podcast yet, but do you want to give your thoughts on the Bayonetta 3 trailer?
I mean, look, if there's an argument for an Astral Chain 2 because of this trailer, and Astral Chain and Bayonetta colliding in universes, because I'm starting to think that the police and Astral Chain are going to somehow connect to the situation Bayonetta's in. Because it looks like that from all the stuff I've seen. And that girl, what's her name? Viola?
Viola, yeah.
Looks like a blend of Virgil and Nero.
Yeah.
She's got the scruffiness of Nero, but it looks like she fights like Virgil.
Right.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I would love to see. I hope I know they're probably not going to do it, but I would hope they would give us a demo just so I can play as her and see how she plays. I know how Bayonetta plays.
Oh yeah, we already know that.
Yeah.
I already know how to take care of the stuff. I'm just looking forward to the new stuff with the kaiju slash bankai slash looking for all
Hollow transformations.
yeah. And I'm pretty sure by the end of it, she'll go Super Saiyan Blue or
Oh man, that'd be crazy.
or Instinct.
That'd be crazy.
Just throw all animes power ups in.
Yeah.
Might as well.
But yeah,
It's like,
that whole Bayonetta clone thing. Got to figure out what that's all about.
yeah.
yeah.
That's
We
gonna
call
be
it
interesting.
ultra knowing where to dodge. That's what you call it. Ultra knowing where to dodge. Not ultra instinct.
Well, but yeah, when it comes down to that knockoff or project, was it Project Eve?
Project
I'm-
Eve.
Yeah,
That's not
I'll
this
be
year,
surprised
is
if they
it?
support it. Does it even have a date?
It
I don't
doesn't have.
think
We only saw it that one state of play.
One time.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have not seen it. And that was right because the first Bayonetta trailer we got at the September direct last year,
Right.
They'll
full trailer. So
they'll hold off.
it came out at the state of play. The Project Eve thing came in the state of play before that.
Yeah,
They'll
because
hold
they said
off.
about 10 months ago. Yeah, so
They want to see. They want to see what this Bayonetta 3 does. What
even
can
then, they know their people. They know people are not going to support it. They know that. They know it's not. It's not a big enough name for them to support it. This is not, because we know what Sony and Microsoft, like fans, like the exclusive ones. We know what they do. If it's not a big household name, then they don't fool with it.
Nah, they don't. But unfortunately, they're still gonna say this is what Bayonetta 3 should have
Should have
been.
been. Yep.
I mean, it's if they're saying that, then why are you complaining about Bayonetta? You shouldn't even care.
Exactly. Give us some time. It's a brand new IP. Bayonetta's been around for a while.
Right.
They're going to support it when it drops down to $20 after.
Oh yeah. My bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right.
Here's the thing, like I'm actually looking forward to that game, seeing more of that game because I was actually intrigued by it. What happened with me as far as Project Eve is concerned is what happens with me and the Batman fans. I don't have a problem with the character of Batman. His fan base makes me hate Batman.
Yeah.
There you go.
So when the fan base,
Everybody keeps them like they can beat them.
yeah, like when the fan base is acting ridiculous, it makes you kind of like not want to deal with it because you're like, dude, like it's not that serious, and you're not even being logical about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I don't even really have an issue with that game title because I was just looking at it and I went back and looked at it later last week a little bit. And I'm like, it still looks like it's gonna be a fun game. Project Eve does.
Yeah.
The biggest problem was that everybody started running their mouths and talking trash. Like, oh, look, got Project Eve coming against Bayonetta. Ain't going to happen until a week later. The Bayonetta creature.
I said they just push back. I say they say, you know what? We were thinking Halloween, but even though this title's done, we actually waiting for Project Eve to come out so we can drop at the same time. Kanye West.
But the thing is, I'm looking at the trailer for Project Eve right now. It's not even similar to
No, it's not.
Bayonetta at all.
No.
It's just a thick chick with a sword, and that's about as close as you're gonna get. But other than that, it's nothing to like.
If it did happen the way Sandstorm was talking about it, would be another Breath of the Wild Horizon situation.
Gotcha. Yep.
But that's what I was like. And look, the way Nintendo's pettiness has been on point the last couple of years,
Right.
they liable to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I swear the only reason why we got that trailer because people was talking trash.
Yep.
The next direct we get the trailer after they was quiet for like what 2.5 years.
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh, so y'all think that's going? Okay, you know what? No, put the trailer in the direct. But sir, you said to hold up. What did I say?
Right. I bet you that trailer disc was dusty as hell. And it was like, find that trailer. Where is it at? Get it.
Right.
Put it in there. It's time. It's time.
Yeah,
It's
so
still time.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that October. That's gonna be that's we got a lot of good games this year. My game of the year is still Shredder's Revenge though.
Really?
Still Shredder's Revenge. At this point, it's still Shredder's Revenge. It's probably gonna wind up being Xenoblade Chronicles 3 though by the end of the year.
Splatoon for me.
Probably. But I know it's gonna. This year's probably gonna be a real tough one as far as like game of the year is concerned. Cause this year should actually have like some real viable like competition because there's a lot of stuff coming out the last half of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to say. I wonder if they're going to go back to like doing each company's game of the year. Like they used to do. Like Sony had a game of the year, Microsoft had a game of the year, and Nintendo had a game of the year.
They need to.
They should, because that really takes away from kind of the hard work and dedication that each of them makers really did. You know.
Yep. I agree.
But yeah. All right. So since we're talking action, let's talk some action. So going around the podcast crew, I want to get you up. What is your favorite action franchise? And I'm going to start with Andre.
Ooh.
Favorite action franchise? Well, for me, that has actually been a draw between recommendations.
Who?
Yeah, I was actually really understand what you're saying.
Yeah, you kind of muffle, Andre.
Yeah, you kind of muffled. You're muffling up a little bit.
All right, I'm going to drop out.
He said he was going to drop out. Probably jump back in.
Well, Jack, what about you? We'll get him when he comes back.
Yeah, I say you caught me off guard with that one. If I had to go with, my best action. Now, can this be like action adventure as well?
No, they kind of go hand in hand sometimes, depending on what game you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
What game are you thinking about? Let me ask you this.
Ghost.
I'll allow it.
Ghost. Okay. So
Okay,
now I know there's a bunch of other, franchises that have been out there that classifies as action adventure like Zelda and your Monster Hunters. But for me, I got into Monster Hunter like on the Wii U when I did the whole Wii U and 3DS combination. So that was like my first efforts going into it and really liked it. And so I stuck with it since then. And as far as Zelda, even though I've tried the games, I really didn't get into Zelda until Breath of the Wild. Like Breath of the Wild, once when I played it and beat it, it actually made me want to go back and play the other Zelda games and actually beat those. But as far as a game that I hope gets a part 2 or they do something with it, it has to be Ghost. Like Ghost was one of those very few games that I've played to where I did all the side quests and honestly could care less if I did the main quest. Like the side quests were not repetitive. They added to the story. You definitely got your power-ups, and I love the way that they did how you got your power-ups. Most games is like, hey, you fought this guy, you leveled up, congratulations, you got a new power. I'm like, well, okay, where did I learn this from? Like, is this sparking my memory because I fought a whole bunch of people? Like, it don't make sense. But the way that Ghost handled it was, here's a myth or here's a story about this guy. And, he's kind of, in this area. So you got to figure out where he is. And when you meet up with him, it's that furious thunderstorm one-on-one battle. And once you beat him, you gain his power or you gain his technique. So I love that, the traversal, the way that you actually fight, because you have to change up the fight style. You can't just go in and just, I'm going to be brute force the entire time. If you didn't switch up the wind style or water style or anything like that, then it'll make it very difficult to defeat whoever it was that you were fighting. Plus the story was good. So I would have to go with Ghost, even though it hasn't been around, since, it was his first iteration in 2020. I'm looking forward to the game. That's one of those games that I will go and get a whole system for just to play it.
I will give you that. Ghost, they did a very good job with Ghost of Tsushima, especially at Kurosawa mode for movie.
Yeah.
I love some Akira Kurosawa because the way he shot, especially for those movies back then, dude, ain't nobody touching it. The way he shot the fights and the way he shot the way the films look. So I will give you that. Ghost of Tsushima, that's one that I think a lot of people can enjoy, especially if they're fans of action.
Yeah.
Andre, you good?
Am I coming through like RoboCop on me?
No, you're good now.
You're good now. Okay, what about you?
Well, I said mine is a draw between Bayonetta and Devil May Cry for obvious reasons.
Okay, so you keeping it in the family with Platinum AK.
I mean, look, I'll be honest, getting into the first Devil May Cry, especially having known that it was supposed to be a Resident Evil game with how it played, I was thoroughly happy that they did not stick with calling that Resident Evil and made it its own thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then Bayonetta comes around the corner and it's more the same, just with a different character that I like a little bit. All right.
And they did a good job with like making Cereza Bayonetta hella likable.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job with that. Like, I think that's the other thing that actually helps, especially in terms of like Devil May Cry. Like, you like Dante,
right?
Yeah, you definitely like Dante. He talks the most shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Virgil, but Dante, yeah. Dante, you tend to like Dante, and you tend to like Bayonetta. So I
specifically OG Dante and not Dante.
Yeah, that kind of goes the same with Virgil too. I like the OG Virgil more than the new Virgil.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind them having an alternate version of the character, but it's just like he is nowhere near as likable as he is.
Yeah.
It's not.
That does kind of suck a little bit, but as long as they still got my boy Dante right, I can understand that. So Sandstorm,
they took that movement once, never went back.
Yeah.
All right, Sandstorm, you up?
This is a real struggle for me because action is like one of my favorite genres, and so because of that, I have different franchises that suit different needs for me.
Right.
Overall, Zelda is probably my favorite, just because I love the storyline and just how everything is just played out with that. Ghost of Tsushima, because I'm a whore for samurai games, so like that just went hand in hand for that. For my mech games, it's like Armored Core or recently Daemon X Machina. Well, more recently Daemon X Machina. I love Zone of the Enders. That was a great game. I feel like I had to look back a couple times because I'm like, yeah, that was actually my favorite franchise.
Right.
I loved Kingdom Hearts because that kind of played off the family friend. Thank you. Until 3, they were hitting until 3. It was right on point.
That's why Valve is scared of making a game with 3 the title.
Maybe they should just, add an X in front of it or something. Just to change it up a little bit. But yeah, there's so many. I love the God of War series. I'm kind of not as feeling this new one. I recently just picked it up. I feel like the pacing is a lot slower, and that's probably what's kind of throwing me off. Where the old one played a lot faster. It didn't play like Bayonetta, but kind of on the same vibe. Just over the top moves and stuff like that. Bayonetta is obviously one of my favorites. Period. Just her being over the top. I did love Devil May Cry. Kind of until they changed it up too. I wasn't feeling that vibe, but yeah, there's just so many. If I had to pick the best out of them, my favorite, it would probably have to be Zelda. But I don't know. I kind of just classify Zelda as my favorite game, period. So whatever genre it was in, that somebody else gets the top spot for that because I feel like it's kind of cheating to put it into. I don't know.
Gotcha. So you got a decision to make.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Who's gonna win today? You know what? Actually, who I actually will give it to? A game that I just jumped back into most recently, which is Jedi Academy. I give it to them because that game was phenomenal when it came out, and I really wish that they would make more in the vein of that style instead of how they're kind of doing it right now, which is kind of more in the style of like the Soul series, which is okay with me. It's still a great game. Fallen Order was still a great game, but like I just miss that, open-ended, open line, pick what you want to do, type of style, and make a great story around that and the lightsaber battles. So I'm gonna say Jedi Knight was actually, or the Jedi. What was that series called?
Jedi Knight,
Jedi Knight.
Jedi
Jedi
Knight.
Academy and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because the first one was Jedi Knight, Dark Forces, and then Outcast, and then Academy. So yeah, and the style of those type of games, that was probably my favorite. So
Oh, okay. All right. So for me, because y'all all named some great games, and Trinell actually has two of the ones that I was going to actually say. Like, I will say this: like, out of the new stuff, Scarlet Nexus and Astral Chain, I love both of those. Those were great games. Platinum don't get enough love. Even they don't get enough love, because even they B team games are actually pretty well done. But for me, just because of like the style of games I like, I'm gonna have to go with, and I don't know why we hadn't got one this gen yet, or why we haven't got one this generation yet. Ninja Gaiden. Like, Ninja, like, come on, man! Like, what you doing? What you doing, player?
I'm just saying they haven't put the money forth for it, even though they should.
Yeah, they should, but I mean, like Ninja Gaiden, I like it now. It can get a little bit challenging because of the simple fact that I don't understand how everybody blocks that much. But
right,
I think when the game gets going, it's really good and it's really fun, in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong. No More Heroes. Love Travis Touchdown, but
Right.
I like Travis Touchdown because of the pop culture references and all the other stuff too.
Right.
Going along with it. Because look, you can say what you wanted to about Travis Touchdown. The first two games was not about getting revenge.
no, not at all.
It was about getting his man. He was about getting his man at that point.
Yeah, because they flat out tell you. That's why, like, Certified One is a freaking genius. Because they flat out tell you what he was trying to do. I'm like, wow, really, bro?
All he was going for.
Like, y'all really went there. All right.
Excited he was when he finally got it.
Yeah, basically. The original God of War, the first three God of War, and I'll actually include the PSP game Chains of Olympus, because I love that game too.
Yeah, that one was good.
Actually, all of the PSP games and the prequel to those that came out on PS3, all those were good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was the prequel one? Was it the
Ghost of Sparta?
Ghost of Sparta, yeah.
Yeah, that was the one with the
Ghost of Sparta. Last the other one.
Yeah, because Ghost of Sparta had that sad launch trailer where he saw his daughter like turn the edge. I'm like, dude, that's y'all didn't have to do all that. But yeah, like the original God of War series, I enjoyed. The only thing that I thought was funny about or messed up about God of War was like the ending of God of War 3. And this I don't understand why they did what they did and then turned around and did the
new God of War like it is.
Like,
yeah.
He destroyed everything. Like, if you play the game to the end, the world gets destroyed.
Well,
like,
you can say technically he destroyed the world. He knew that he didn't destroy the world.
Yeah, but the way they played it out, when you're doing it, it's the world is being destroyed, because every time you punch Zeus, it's pretty much taking out another section of the earth. So it was really weird. But hey, I love that series because I was like, yeah, Zeus got exactly what he deserved.
Mm-hmm.
But boil it down to how the plot of the original game, Ares did win in the end, even though he was dead.
Yeah, true. But
he got to do what he wanted. He just didn't need to live to see it through.
Yeah.
Yeah. But but there is one like game series that I wish Capcom would bring back, and that's Onimusha. Demon Siege was like those games. Like, I didn't really care for the second one. The first one was great. The second one was just okay, but that third one, Demon Siege, that was my jam. Now the fourth one, I was here or there. I thought it was okay, but I would love to see Onimusha come back, especially since they are saturated on Resident Evil. I'm just tired of Resident Evil at this point.
Yeah.
Onimusha was done in the same play style as Resident Evil 2.
It was different enough with like the samurai and the how they did it to where I was like, you know what, this is actually refreshing to me.
Yeah.
But you're just saying, like, if they were creative enough to do that and they remade the Resident Evil games to acclaim, why not go ahead and do Onimusha and Dino Crisis? Because those are the only other games in that style.
Right.
Because they got Exoprimal.
Don't throw that at me. Don't throw that at me. That's the Dino Crisis games supposed to talk about.
I'm like, why did y'all just call it Dino Crisis? Why y'all doing this to people?
Yeah, they made extra about
Think
this.
about it. Like I said, it's reminding people of the Dino Crisis we ain't supposed to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Xbox exclusives.
All right, so next
Oh,
question.
can I give a shout out real quick to a game that we kind of forgot about?
Sure.
Just because of how many games they've done after, and it just kind of just faded away. Infamous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that just hasn't had a new game come out at all.
Yeah.
How were you surprised about that? Sony.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm not surprised by it because it's Sony, but I'm surprised by, the reception that it received. Because when you think about Sony's kind of like that company. It's like, hey, we don't want it to stay around too long, so we can make something new. So we're just gonna make something new. But I don't know. It's so weird because we got 3 games out of that for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Original, a sequel, and then like a
that DLC spin-off thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It to me, it's one of those things to where I saw a doc the other day about what is the game that was similar to that? I'm blanking.
Prototype.
Yeah, Prototype. There you go. And I saw why Prototype failed, but it's one of those things where Infamous seemed like they got it right. Mm-hmm. But even when I went back to play Infamous or Infamous 2, I can see how it can get a little redundant when you're playing it, especially when you're just out in the open in the city and you're just kind of killing people here and there, trying to collect power, trying to zap this up and go through different vents. And having something like that open world they need to shrink it down to like a corridor type thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe like Sony just kind of gives off this vibe. We probably crank out 2 or 3 games and then it's on to the next. Like they're not trying to stay with a franchise too long.
And that's stupid because Second Sons? Is that what it's called?
Son, yeah.
Yeah, that gave so much room to either make more powers, which they did in that one, so you just didn't have one singular power, or turn this into one of those, create a character situations. Now you can pick whether you want to be, the villain or you want to be the hero in whatever city you start off in. You can make your own factions and silly stuff like that. Like that doesn't take that much brain power to come up with,
I think with that, the problem that comes with that is everybody was doing it. Yeah. And eventually that crap gets burnt out. Like when I first experienced it, it was Mass Effect. Mm-hmm. So while I know there were possibly other games that were doing it at the time, or even I take it back. KOTOR is when I first started experiencing it. But when it came down to Mass Effect kind of, polished it a little bit more. Plus, it was newer. But honestly, everybody was going that route of good versus evil. Like, do you want to do this bad? Do you want to do this good? Fable was doing it, and I think after a while,
Redemption. Yeah,
exactly. If you center a game around that, it's kind of hard to carry it forward. I think.
Well, my bad. What's that, Andre?
Honestly, we need more games where you're just the bad guy. Like you are just.
Yeah. What happened to Overlord? What happened to games like that?
I don't know, because we don't have a lot of games to where, hey, look, I'm trying to defeat the good guy. I'm trying to defeat the superhero, the one that's trying to be the protagonist. I need to be the antagonist in the game.
Yeah.
Well,
I would love a game where you could be the villain, at least one where you could be the villain and you lose your fights to the good guy, and your character is constantly talking to himself, mad.
Well, I mean,
being deadpan, being serious.
that kind of was what Prototype was. Prototype and Prototype 2. You ended up being the bad guy in one. Well, thought you were a good guy, but ended up being the bad guy in one. And then it turns out in two, you had to fight the original dude.
Yeah,
True.
but I'm just talking about you straight out the gate.
Yeah.
Oh, you evil for a reason.
Right. You freeze it out the gate, and this is what it is.
Basically, just make a Dragon Ball game where you get to play as Frieza and you can insult everybody.
Oh my god.
The game will get rated M real fast.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like rated M real fast. No way.
Pew 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 pew
You know
pew.
how sensitive people are right now? Like, Frieza's whole game, that game would be shut down.
This
Yeah.
man is straight racist.
You can say they're not real racist, so it don't make it difference.
Like, jeez. And then not to mention too with how ruthless Frieza can be.
Yeah.
You know, I think that goes to a whole nother level. But I think they're trying to, well, no, not even that, because even Breakers is more of you running away from the bad guys. But yeah, I
I still don't understand because you running around with powerless characters fighting somebody that can blow anything down.
yeah. And then you call the superheroes the Z Fighters, and like, okay, well, that
That's like a waste of time. Like that's like being in that army doing Trunks' timeline. It just wasn't gonna work.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I mean that'd be a nice little spin. I mean, I don't know how you would work it because everybody expects to win. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, with me being a villain,
You could be the bad guy throughout the story. Like as far as like the story goes, you're losing throughout the story, but at the end of the game, you ultimately win. They can do that.
If I'm doing that, then really make me lose, like overpower the good guy, because Dragon Ball wore me out with hey, I went through all of this to win just for you to tell me I lost.
Oh yeah, that's stupid. Yeah, yeah, I hate that. And then if you lose, actually, they're like you lost. You're like,
Like no shit. Like that's what I was supposed to do. Like, all right.
nah,
yeah,
you got to beat them to lose.
that has to be.
That does bore the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean, I get why they did it, because if you know you're supposed to lose, you just put down the controller, so you don't really interact with it. But it's still annoying. Like, at least make me fight for it, knowing that I'm like, make it seem like yes, it's a possibility I can win. Because I know there's been plenty of times to where we've had tutorials where I think I could really beat them if I know the controls, because they purposely don't tell you about the controls in the beginning. But if you're running the game back, maybe if I know the controls, I can beat them. But then it's like, nah, even though you got somewhat close, it's not happening.
There's some games you can do that with, like Devil May Cry 5. If you know the controls well enough, you can beat the tutorial.
Right.
I was gonna say the only one I know that's like that is, well, Ghost of Tsushima tried that, and then you can knock the original the boss all the way down, but you can never actually beat him. But the only other one that I know that's like that is Bloodborne. When you see the werewolf, you can actually beat him, even though it's like really, really hard to do so. You can actually still beat him right out the gate.
Well, the only game series that actually does that is the Tales of series. The Tales of series always has at least one or two fights where you're fighting and you're going to lose, and then they progress the story past that. Like the one that I know Vesperia did it, Symphonia did it, Abyss did it, Berseria did it, Exilia 1 and 2 did it, Zestiria did it, and Graces did it as well. So like there were fights in there where you would go in and you be fighting and you see the life bar coming down a little bit, but then it'd get like to the middle part of the fight and it'd be like, okay, I'm done playing with you. But that's the story. Because usually those fights would go like you have to fight that character at least like 2 more times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they'll were like, oh yeah, that was a tight move you did. Get down somewhere.
I know, right?
So yeah, I mean that's the only game franchise that I know the Tales of series does that. I know they do, but most other ones they don't let you do that, and I can understand that. I really can. Right. The only other thing I would say, and I forgot to mention this one, was Darksiders. I do love the Darksiders.
Oh yeah, Darksiders is amazing. Yes.
I mean, I capped off at this last one though. I didn't care for this last one.
Was 3 not that good?
I didn't like it.
I like 3. With Fury, I like 3. Now Genesis is a little bit different because it's it's that top down. Even though I like Strife, like the only reason why I love that game is the fact that when you fight Strife, Strife is always saying something, and it's
right.
The story is progressing there, but I don't like the look of the top down look that they went with for it. But if they change that back up, which I heard they are, and put it more back in the line of like what 3 was, because I love 3. Fury, they made Death and Fury my favorite too. I don't know.
Genesis, I thought like the way it was formulated, I thought I was gonna like Genesis for sure.
Well, it's just that
it looks like Diablo.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work for what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It just it doesn't. I hate to say it like that because I actually like Airship Syndicate. That I think they do good work, but I don't think that. I think they were just trying it out, and it just didn't work. For me, it didn't work from a gameplay standpoint. The story was good though.
Right.
The story really was good. Oh yeah, Trinell. I think that first fight did humble everybody. And Tales of Fun to beat Kratos that first time. You can actually. There's a way to beat him, but I was only able to do that after my 3rd playthrough with like 10 times experience up.
Oh wow.
Wasn't Kratos was the knight looking dude, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was
yeah. Man, yeah, I remember that fight.
That fight was a pain, but you could beat him, but it took it was a lot. It was a lot. So next question up for you guys is, what dev do you think does it best for the action genre in your opinion? Me personally, I'm just going to say mine. I think it's Platinum. I think Platinum does it better than anybody else. But
does it the best?
Yeah. I think Koei Tecmo does a good job, but I think Platinum just does it better.
Well, once again, I don't include Zelda in my action games because I think it's the GOAT. So, with dropping off Nintendo, I'll with that being said, yeah, I'm gonna have to say it's Platinum. Yeah. Well, no, not necessarily. I would say Platinum is probably the best. But honorable mentions to Insomniac, because they do a really excellent job too. You know, just because they did Ghost and they did Spider-Man too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Infamous. So, and all 3 of those games all play differently from each other. So it's not like, they just took the formula and just moved it over to a different skin. So
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job as well.
Which is why I would never from software.
Yeah. From I would give it, I wouldn't put them as my top though.
No, that's it. That's why I won't say from software.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'd say From Software was From Software who was still making my favorite card game of all time. But we know they're not going to make another Lost Kingdom. That's never going to happen. They found their formula and they're sticking with it.
Correct. Yep.
It's a broken engine that people love to pretend like they're the best at.
They're the next Bethesda. That's what they are.
All right, Jack. Do you have one?
So I kind of want to go with what Sandstorm is saying when you talk about Insomniac, because of how many different, I guess you could say, franchises that they take on. And
I was wrong. It's Sucker Punch. Somebody
is it Sucker?
Yeah, Ghost is Sucker Punch.
That's right. And I was just looking at it too. But even then, it's not like they're bad. Like Insomniac is pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially even with them taking on some of those games early on with platformers, because we always talk about platforming being my top game genre to go with. But just out of pure bias, because I have like a game that's still one of my favorites to this day, I'll give it to Konami. Just out of pure bias because of Mystical Ninja. Like, but if we talk about,
yeah.
if we're just talking about recent, it'll be Platinum. Platinum, I like those style games. Even when you talk about from Bayo to Wonderful 101 to Astral Chain, Nier is, even though Square had played a part in Nier, is still Platinum at the helm of that to me.
You can tell it's Platinum. Platinum's all
exactly, and Platinum's all over that. So to me, that like because Nier, they got me wanting to repurchase Nier when it comes to the Switch this time around. And I think it's going to be somewhat of a different game in a way, but nonetheless, I'll still pick it up. But I will have to go with the common sense answer is Platinum, but just out of bias, Konami, because of that one game. I don't even know the other games that they've made for action adventure. I'm just going with them for Mystical Ninja.
I mean, you can count Castlevania and action adventure too. So
what's that?
You can count Castlevania and action adventure too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Castlevania. Yeah.
Okay. Because I never think about Castlevania as action adventure. I kind of like, I know there's action in there. I just always put it more or less of, I don't know, platforming adventure. Like I don't know. I kind of put it in his own little thing because especially with the whole Metroidvania title that gets thrown around a lot, it seems like it's kind of in its own realm because it does a blend. Especially when you talk about certain games where you talk about getting different souls, so that can kind of be RPG-ish. And then the adventure that comes along with it, as well as the platforming in certain areas. Yeah, I mean, I kind of see that as an all-around type game.
Because originally it didn't have all that.
Correct. Yeah. So, right.
All right,
so
guys.
my initial one was on the 3DS. Like that was my introduction into Castlevania. Or was on the 3DS. So.
All right,
guys. I got to step out. Thank you guys so much. People in the comment section, make sure you hit the like button. Follow all these guys. And I will see you guys later. Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. So, Andre, you're up next.
I mean, definitely Platinum, and if Capcom is not being stupid, then them.
Yeah.
That's a damn shame you have to say that.
That's to be completely fair, Chanel, you are absolutely right. When they are on their game, they are on their game. But for some reason, they just I guess
they'll be on the roll for like 3 or 4 games, and then the fifth one they blunder everything.
Yeah, like what the? Yeah, Chanel, you're absolutely right on that one.
You think they taking the approach of, hey, look, we have to throw a bad one out there, so when we come back, it look like we came back as a real one. Like, okay.
I think
they get into a rhythm where they're doing good, and then they get to a point where they feeling themselves, so they just think they can throw it. But then they screw up, and then they got to go back to the drawing board and fix everything.
Yeah. Like, hold on, we doing too good. That's like it's time to fuck up. Like, let's go ahead and do this real quick.
Wait, come on, man. You can't tell me that they can have every Street Fighter game before 5 be good, then 5 comes along and it's just like discombobulated. They thought they had it straight by trying to adhere to what the fighting game community wanted instead of sticking with what they knew worked and feeding the whole market, which screwed them up, which is why 6 is going to come out feeding the whole market versus the fighting game community.
Right.
I mean, that was the biggest. That's why I was so glad when Sakurai didn't listen to nobody in that community. Because they tried to bully Sakurai. It just didn't work.
He flipped them off.
Yeah. They tried to bully Sakurai 3 times. They tried to bully him to put Waluigi in there, and he put Piranha Plant in there. They tried to bully him on releasing the game early, and he was like, "Nope." They actually went on a what happened? Like they tried to get him to get the game out so they can have it for what was that damn Evo, and he was like, "No." And he got pushed back again. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It just got disappointing news. They holding back features for goddamn it, Captain. Second, and then come back to disappointing news.
Well, I think at this point, because the Street Fighter V situation was a unique situation because one, they pissed everybody off because of the whole Sony exclusivity, which I thought was good for them. But I could understand that if Sony wanted to cut the check.
Yeah.
The other thing though was the whole when it came out that the fighting game community wanted it for Evo that year, and that's why they rushed it out. Which I was like, that's stupid. I'm like, that's just stupid. That's just plain stupid.
My thing is, if you holding back game modes, there's no reason. There's literally no reason to hold back game modes. I can understand.
Unless it's not working.
No reason to hold back game modes.
If the mode isn't working, that's different. But if you're holding it back just because, that's
stupid. And if that's the case, then we're gonna have a problem. I mean, I'm already pissed off at what they're doing to Ken. I'm already pissed off that they ignoring Sean completely again. So Capcom got it. Capcom about to have another game I ain't gonna buy again because I did it with Dead Rising, and I will damn sure do it to Street Fighter if they keep screwing up.
Right.
Yeah. That's boy, Capcom. They got so many franchises, and they won't look at none of them.
None, but you gotta love
them. Even though you got maybe Captain Commando, they screwed up Bionic Commando multiple times after the Nintendo. They won't go back to Forgotten World. Haven't done another Darkstalkers game. I'm hoping that this daggone arcade, the arcade collection does well, and they decide to do another Darkstalkers.
I mean, they should have did another Rival Schools or Project Justice.
Project Justice. I mean,
either call it Rival School 2 or Project Justice 2. Don't matter, but just pick one.
Yeah, just pick one. Power Stone. You would have thought they would have capitalized off of that, but no. I'm like, why not? And that's just some of them. I mean, we already talked about Dino Crisis.
I agree. Wilton that Third Strike is still the best Street Fighter. I still agree with that.
Oh yeah. Third Strike is by far and away is the best.
If I was going to go with my top 2 Street Fighter games, it would be Third Strike and then Alpha 3 for gameplay. But music-wise, Alpha 2 still way better. So we got to get back to the action.
Yeah. We kind of went off on that tangent because it just hurts. It just hurts.
Yeah. That's just them in a nutshell at this point. You know, they kind of found their pocket, and that's where they're gonna stay.
I could make an hour-long rant by myself on Capcom.
Yeah. Let's see. So, taking into all the action games we've probably played and have played, do you think it's a certain game series that could actually make a comeback for modern and actually work if they came back, depending on done in a modern style?
Well, I got one that needs it to be redone for its classic series, and that's Castlevania. If they went back to the Devil May Cry copy style that they did with Castlevania, instead of copying God of War, which is similar but not the same, and they stuck with the classic series, they could do very well right now.
Or at least put a story around the Simon Belmont one.
They could go back and actually redo all of the original character stories. They could retell Simon, they could retell Christopher, retell Trevor. They can retell all those character stories.
And please put Grant Dynasty in there. Don't leave Grant out.
Hell, they could redo Legacy of Darkness from '64.
Right.
That could be really good.
That's the one with Cornell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be really good in Devil May Cry style. With Cornell having that wolf transformation, and then you have Reinhardt, who is the bastard Belmont.
That could actually work. Yeah, that could. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Jack, you got one?
One that I don't think too many people paid any attention to, but Soul Reaver. Like I really enjoyed Soul Reaver on Dreamcast. Like that was my go-to. I played the hell out of Soul Reaver.
The Dreamcast version was the best for the first game. I ain't gonna lie.
So Soul Reaver would definitely be one I would love to see come back. And if I had an alternative, it's gonna sound crazy, but it actually played pretty well, and it was on Dreamcast as well. And that was the Grinch. I don't know what you would do with it now, but the Grinch game on the Dreamcast was pretty good. That game was awesome.
I never got a chance to play that one either. So
a friend of mine had it, and this was like before, like I had just got my Dreamcast because this was when the Dreamcast was pretty much done. They had it in the pawn shop. You know, I had got some Christmas, I got some birthday money. Was able to go get it pretty cool.
For $25.
Exactly, like it was dirt cheap. Plus the games were super cheap too. At that time, I was able to get Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and then also NBA 2K2 for like $20. Yeah, and it was just super dirt cheap at the time. And this was like around the time I was able to go to school and have like this one kid offering me 3 burnt games for one actual game. And I didn't understand it because I wasn't in the news like that or in the magazines like that to know that the Dreamcast was dying. I just knew, hey, this was a new system to me, and you know, I was just playing it. But that's how I was actually able to play the Grinch, because my friend brought it over, and then I was able to find a burnt copy and just play through that entire game. But that game is amazing.
That's probably expensive as hell now.
Probably.
Yeah, that would be hella expensive. For me, it's gonna be Onimusha.
Really?
Yeah, I would love to see 1, 2, and 3 come back. I don't really care for 4 all that much, but I wouldn't mind seeing 1, 2, and 3. I know they did the remaster for 1. I'm talking about like do a full on like remake.
If they remake them in RE engine and do basically what they did with Resident Evil, they can improve all of it.
Yeah.
So is there not another game that's like Onimusha out right now?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
You'll get games with similar settings, but not the same type of play style.
Gotcha.
And like, to me, my favorite one out of that series was the third one, Demon Siege, because you got to play it from those 2 different perspectives. And actually, 2 of my favorite actors, Jean Reno and Takahashi. I can't say his first name. They were like 2 of my favorite actors because I saw some stuff they were in when I was in college.
Okay.
Because I had a class where I had to like watch a lot of foreign films, and Jean Reno I'm like, that dude's amazing. And I'm just sitting there looking. I'm like, you know what? I would love to see at least that game get like a remaster, because to me that's the best one they did. In all honesty, for what was it, Dawn of Dreams or something like that. The 4th one was just okay, but it felt like the Boo Saga after Cell Saga.
I'm not gonna allow people to keep shitting on the Boo Saga. The Boo Saga was alright. Like it was,
listen. The Boo Saga is okay. The Boo Saga is okay if you watch it as a standalone from everything else.
Right.
Leading up to the Boo Saga, it do feel a little off.
Yeah, because like if you watch from Saiyan Conflict through Cell Saga, everything's wrapped up.
Right.
Everything's wrapped up. Then they just like, oh, no, you got to make another one. Like, why? The story's done. The hell you say? We making money. So that's what happened with Onimusha. It was like Demon Siege wrapped everything up from 1, 2, and 3, and then Capcom was like, nah, I'm gonna make another one.
Right.
Like, what?
That one had like a different play style in a way, didn't it?
A little bit.
Okay.
It was a little bit. Like, I also didn't like the main character either. I'm like, this dude sucked. So it was just one of those ones. I think if they redid, especially with the RE engine and what you can all do with it, I'm like, that would probably actually, who knows, they'd probably be able to actually make a comeback. But once again, that would involve Capcom being smart, not being stupid.
I think Ghost I think games like Ghost and Sekiro kind of ruined that for Onimusha in a way. Because can you come back the way that it was? Of course, remake it to modernize it a little bit. but can you make it the way that Onimusha was, the way that you got the Sekiro side of it, to where it's the Souls game type ordeal, and then you have Ghost, where it's full on open-ish world with a story.
Well,
Like,
the way I would do it, I wouldn't make it if I brought it back, I wouldn't make it open world off the rip. First game would not be open world. The second one would probably be more of an open world, depending on what kind of story we're trying to tell. Because the Onimusha games were kind of meant to be like the Resident Evil games are meant to be like a horror movie. So it was you could finish those games realistically in about 4 to 6 hours. So they were meant to be like that.
Right.
So Onimusha was kind of set up kind of like that a little bit until you got to like the third one. The third one was meant to be like that whole. They were telling that deep story because you had two sides to play from. You had to play from the French side, and then you had to play the Japanese samurai side. So it was a little bit like that. So like the first game would probably be more linear just to get people acclimated, and then depending on how good that does, then I would do the follow up, make it kind of like more of like a Ghost open world ish type style game.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it would have to be
that working. I can see it working that way.
But it would have to be like because you gotta get interest up. So that's what I said. I would make sure I do 3 because 3 was the better game. Like 3 was the better game. It was more cinematic, and to be honest, like a lot of people, they prefer more cinematic style games. So you get 3, and do it like do 3. Let that be the game to get people back into it, and then go forward from there, or gauge interest and then go forward from there.
Yeah, because I mean, even I put that in the same vein as like what Dark Void was saying with Ninja Gaiden. I mean, there could be a place for it, but I don't know. I really don't know anymore. When you talk about Ninja Gaiden, yes, the name is there. Onimusha, the name is there, so people will pay attention to it. But when you talk about the level of difficulty as well as the main purpose of it, do you change it in the sense of alienating the original people that loved it for what it was, or do you keep it the same and risk just it not fitting in the scope of what games are right now?
Yeah.
Well, it's stuff like Onimusha, because Onimusha had ranging difficulties.
Right.
Onimusha itself would be fine. Ninja Gaiden, on the other hand, let's be honest. Ninja Gaiden, like many other games like it, were the idea of what Dark Souls is now.
Exactly. Yeah.
The game for it to be difficult, but you're playing it for the challenge, and if you enjoy challenges, you want to play it.
Correct.
And you do get, like, the thing that about Ninja Gaiden is once you actually get to a point where you understand the game, when you beat those bosses, you feel like you actually accomplished something. It's kind of it's kind of like Mario in that vein. Like when you take down a kaiju, you feel like you did something.
Yeah, because they're ridiculous. So I agree. Yeah.
So like Ninja Gaiden, especially if you go back and play like Razor's Edge, play Razor's Edge. When you beat them, when you take down a boss in Razor's Edge, they make you feel like you were Super Ninja.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that Ninja Gaiden itself is a game series that wouldn't do well with an adjustable difficulty. I just think that they need to make the harder difficulty the main one and give you the option to choose a different one.
Yeah.
But that way you don't alienate the audiences. I mean, because let's be honest, there's no way Koei Tecmo is just going to specifically say, well, this game has to be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
They're not From Software. That's not the purpose of their particular game.
Correct.
It's just how it turned out.
Yeah.
So they can add difficulty settings without people getting too controversially pissed off about it.
Yeah.
They'll be like, okay, well, a bunch of new people that aren't as skilled can play and beat the game. What do you do?
Yeah, I can see that. All right, people, we are over the hour mark, so that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you to everybody.
Wait. I got one honorable mention that I should have mentioned, and I didn't. I feel bad because I'm an old head from the Sega family, and that's Shinobi.
Okay.
Shinobi.
I would love to see that. I did start back playing that one on the NSO because I got my Genesis controller. Thank you, Nintendo, for that. controller because it's way easier to play those games on the actual controller that they were supposed to be on. So, so Shinobi 3, I can agree
Well,
with that.
I'm talking about just the general series itself. It don't got a
No, I mean
specific.
that's the one I played, so that's what I mean. Like, so I understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
Now, if they want to go back and retell Joe Musashi's origins, I'll be all for it. But let's just get a good game out first.
Yeah. So honorable mention to that one. So all right, so that's gonna do it for this podcast. Thank you to everybody in the chat. We really appreciate it. Thank you for hanging with us tonight as we wax poetic about some action games. Jack, anything you want
to stop from the Capcom?
But no, like honestly, just like, subscribe, share, let people know that we're here. Let people know how great the show is. How diverse we can be as far as the topics, and we're not just all about Nintendo or all about Xbox and PlayStation. We talk across the genre. Now, sometimes we lean towards Nintendo a lot, but at the end of the day, we can communicate with everything because everybody here has a very wide palette as far as gaming. So whether it's the knowledge of these two, because their knowledge goes deeper than mine with gaming, to where now we talk about current games too and different genres that we touch. So definitely spread the word for sure.
Andre.
I mean, look, if you check my channel, there's a bunch of stuff that popped up in the last couple of days because I had stuff just sitting waiting in the wings. I was supposed to do the Cross Zone episode earlier this month. That got delayed to the beginning of next month, mostly because of me just being too busy. But I will reveal the subject this time, which is going to be my wants and desires for Project Cross Zone 3, if that were ever to be.
Okay, cool. Nice. All right. As for me, I did a live stream for I Got Mine last night for Punch Out. Check that out over on the gaming channel. Went through the first circuit. King Hippo kind of worked me a little bit. But I did triumph. I did beat King Hippo, so that. But yeah, check that out if you want a good laugh. Other than that, I am going to be trying to set up a more of a actual schedule for doing some live streams and stuff. I do have a couple things coming next week, so be on the lookout for that as well. Also, I'm probably going to jump on here probably tomorrow or Tuesday to let you guys know all the stuff we got up, like the website, the actual Twitter handle that we got, and all that other good stuff, and the link tree and all that stuff. So be on the lookout for that. And with any further ado, I have no idea what we're going to talk about next week. So just come join us because it's probably going to be a random sesh, hopefully. But once again, thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for supporting. We always appreciate you guys. And we will catch you guys next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace, everybody.